pulling into Weaverville and about to hit the Trinity Alps. I'm going to Big Bear Lake. I'm excited about this because I've been backpacking for a long time, like 4 years or so, I think, maybe 5. Last time I took a little winter trip, it was just an overnighter. I was messing around with some bushcrafting skills, just playing around. That time I actually had a little interesting thing where I forgot my sleeping pad, but it enabled me to improvise, which is cool. So I found a spot that had a ton of fallen leaves, which I guess is pretty easy to do in the winter. There's plenty of leaves on the ground. So I stacked them all up, and about 12 inches deep or so, and made myself a little bed of leaves. And hell, I was more comfortable and warm on that bed of leaves than I would have been on my pad anyway. So hey, sometimes a little bit of frustration turns into something great. Anyway, I'm about to hit the visitor center to get my backcountry permit. Got a little fire permit as they require for use of a stove, and I would like to actually have a campfire and mess around with that, but there is actually they are not allowing them at this point due to the fire risk. I mean, the area hasn't seen water in what, 4 months now, and in the valley anyway, it's about 110 degrees right now, but up there probably closer to 80. Lots of sun, lots of dry tinder everywhere. The place is a tinder box, but I do intend to cook on my little miniature wood burning stove. I think it's no, it's not an Esmond. Jeez, I can't remember what it is. Emberlit, I think it is, a little titanium deal that I had way back. Anyway, it's been so long since I've been backpacking that this time I brought the frickin' kitchen sink. I'm used to going out ultralight or just taking, what I need. But it's been so long that I figured, oh, I might need that, or I might need that. And this is going to be a bit of a trip where I whittle down my gear again. But my pack base weight, 26 pounds without food. Add another 4 pounds of food to that, and I'm at 30 pounds. Oh, wait a minute. I've got a liter of water that's accounted for in that weight as well. So 26 pounds, including a liter of water. I forgot that I had a full bottle of water in there. So subtract that from the base weight. Thought I'd pull over here because I need to pop into the ranger station shortly. But anyway, oh, there it is right across the street. Hell yeah. Just worked out. Anyway, I'll check in with you guys later. Cheers. All right, been on the trail for about an hour or so, and I've already covered a couple of miles, maybe a mile and 3/4, whatever, but beautiful scenery so far, gorgeous pines. Haven't quite hit the granite yet, but it's gorgeous. Already drank more than half of my water. I'm not a big fan of rationing water when I'm backpacking because I believe that the best place to store water is actually in your stomach. It's not going to do any good in your pack, right? So it's also the more you drink, the less weight you have on your back. That thing behind me, it's not a rifle. It's well, stick around. I might show you later. I'm gonna get back to hiking on the trail. Bye. Hey, just checking in again. I'd say I'm probably close to halfway up the trail, and man, it's freaking hot, and I'm slick right now. I had put some sunblock on in the car. In between that and all the sweat, man, I think I'm ready for some oil wrestling right now. Kind of getting over a cold too. I wouldn't recommend backpacking if you have a cold. However, my stepdaughter went through the same thing. My wife kind of has it right now, and it doesn't seem too intimidating. It's just kind of a cough, making my voice all crackly like you hear right now. But anyway, this is gorgeous. I'm having a great time. All right, time to purify some water. There are lots of ways of doing it. I've tried most of them. You could use chlorine, you could use iodine tabs, which is what I'm going to reuse right now. You could filter it, you could boil it. On long trips, I don't really like to use the iodine because I don't want too much of it in my system, but whatever.
2 tabs. Oh, way too many. Don't set it down. Put it back in your bag. So 2 tabs go in after you fill it up. I did that a little backwards, but oh well. And you want to actually get the water bottle below the surface of the water, but not on the bottom, because then you don't skim any stuff floating down or stuff off the bottom. What you want to do is after you've got them in there, shake it up a little bit, loosen the cap so that the threads could get a little of the iodine on there. I'm going to shake it again in about 5 minutes before I head back on the way. Alright, so I got some water in my thing, and it'll be ready by the time I'm thirsty. Got a little bit of trail mix down, and I'm actually back on the trail, and I found a little bit of, I cannot remember the name of it right now, but I'll post it if I find it later. But anyway, it's this plant right here. It has a very waxy, I don't know if I could get a good shot, very waxy kind of a leaf. It does make a really good tea. So I'm actually going to pluck a few of these little pieces off and maybe have some tea this evening. All right. Saw a garter snake. That's pretty cool. Getting ready to cross the trail in front of me. You're not supposed to let a black cat cross your path, but what about a garter snake? I have no idea. Oh, there it goes. That's the thing with snakes. You come up on them and they will bolt usually. You don't have to worry, if you're afraid of snakes, of them, you know, coming up to you to try to bite you. Usually they will run off. All right, another little trail nibble is blackberry bramble. And although I don't see any blackberries on the vines right now, you can still eat the leaves, and particularly the seconds. In other words, the young little sprout leaves. Those are pretty soft and salady. So let's take a look at that. And I would caution you not to eat anything that you find in the wild unless you're absolutely sure of what it is. Berries, usually if it looks like what you'd find in the store, smells like what you'd find in the store, and tastes like what you'd find in the store, it's healthy. But still, I'd caution you against it unless you are traveling with somebody who is knowledgeable, unless you have a book. And still, I would not recommend it. So at your own risk, ladies and gentlemen. But there we go. I don't know if you can see the blackberry bramble here. It well, it has spikes on it, and it has leaves of 3. Similarly, so does poison oak. However, this is not poison oak. Poison oak does not have thorns, and it doesn't have pointy leaves like this. So anyway, I thought that I would pull off a couple of these little guys and have a little taste. All right, there we go. That's blackberry bramble. Lots of things out here to eat. It has a bit of a tanniny taste, a little tanniny, but still not too bad. All right. Ding, water's done. Oh my God, that tastes so good. You know, a lot of people don't really like the taste of iodine in their water, but I personally like it. It reminds me of being in the outdoors, you know. So a lot of people, a interesting smell or taste will take them back to something. Like my sister, for example, we were just having a conversation and she said she loves the smell of wet asphalt on a hot day. So if you're passing a gas station, you know, say, and then all of a sudden there's somebody spraying it down, she loves that smell. I don't get it, but she likes it. For me, I like iodine in my water. It reminds me of the outdoors. It's awesome. Oh, as I was coming up the path, I saw some trees that looked a little redwoody, and I looked a little closer because this isn't really a redwood area. Oh, cedar. Cool. So I grabbed a little bit of cedar around it. I thought I could use it to help start a fire. So, you know, on the West Coast, we don't have a whole lot of birch bark like y'all in the East. However, we do have cedar, and it's also a pretty good fire starter. Yeah. Hey, any minute I'm expecting an Ewok to pop up somewhere. I'm passing through a highly ferned area. This is definitely different than where I was before. A couple of, or 1,000 feet below here, it's mostly kind of low altitude pine. But it was very dry down there. And up here, there's a lot of water coming from somewhere. We got to be pretty close to a lake or something. I could feel it. Holy crap. This tree is huge. Look at this tree. Oh. I don't know what kind of tree it is. I want to say sugar pine. It's gorgeous. So huge. Huge. Whew. All right. So usually when you're trying to figure out where you are, it's a good idea to have a couple of points of reference. Right now I just have one, which makes it difficult for me to tell exactly which one it is. So anyway, brought my map out, and it's not a very good map, but unfortunately Trinity's right, or the area, the Park Service is right in the middle of changing up their maps, so they haven't produced any for a while, and word is they're not making any for a while until they revamp it. Wheels of bureaucracy. Anyway, so I pointed my map north, just to kind of gauge what we're looking at here. So evidently I could be looking up at this little peak here, which would put me, I would say, somewhere close to here, which is right up on the lake almost. Oh, sorry, I'll get that in the shot. Here's a lake, put me here. I could also be looking at this point, which would put me more close to here, which is a lot farther back. So I'm hoping I'm here, because it'd be nice to be up on the lake, because I'd like to be doing some fly fishing. I like walking and all, but you know, I can't wait to get out there and try my new fly rod. So anyway, we will see. One way to tell for sure is just to keep going. So what I'm seeing is a dish. It's kind of like an amphitheater, like a classic style. Trees are in the way though, so it's hard to tell fully. So it could be that I'm right up on the lake and it's just past these trees. And it could also be that that's just a false ridge that I crossed a little bit earlier. And it could be that that little ridge way up there is where the lake is. So anyway, we will see. And no matter what, we will get there, barring any unforeseen issues such as injuries or whatnot. All right. One thing I like about these flatter water bottles is that it's easier to collect water, even from sources where you don't have a whole lot of depth. And if you come to a point where there's water available and you're not sure where you're going to get some, it's a good idea to collect it. So here's home for the next couple of days, and I made it to the lake. What's up? That false peak was actually a false peak, and I did have a lot more ground to cover, but hey, it is what it is, and we are here before the dusk. So I was going to bring a tarp and a blanket, like a wool blanket, but this being the first trip out for a while, I started getting a little intimidated when I weighed the tarp or the blanket, and I thought, well, I'm just going to bring my sleeping bag. That tent weighs a little over 2 pounds, maybe almost 3 pounds. And that sleeping bag is a YERBA sleeping bag. It's a semi-rectangular. And my wife and I picked those up because you could actually zip them together and make a nice little bed, or you could sleep two comfortably underneath it, just like a quilt. So I'm trying to get her out backpacking, and when we do, I've got one of these. This one's a 40 degree bag, and I also have a 20 degree bag. So when I take her out, I'm going to get the 20 degree bag just to be safe, make sure it's an enjoyable experience. My spot's a little bit exposed, more than I wanted, but it will do. There's not much tree coverage. There is down below, but there's another group down there, and I kind of wanted a little solitude, so I came up here on the ledge. And to tell you the truth, I'm actually a little happy about that, because if you look at the scenery here, I'm surrounded by granite walls pretty much all the way around 3 sides of me. So what happens in a situation like this is at night, the temperature drops, and all that cold air just starts dropping down, and that granite wall acts like a huge funnel, and the cold air, just like flowing water, flows down across the lake, follows a path of least resistance, because cold air sinks, right? It's more dense than warm air, so it flows on out through that little valley there. So down there, it's going to be a little bit colder tonight than it will be up here. I'm going to escape some of that wind. I learned that lesson the hard way in the Sierras when I was doing the John Muir Trail a little ways back. It got painfully cold that night, but hopefully lesson learned, and hopefully tonight will be a little bit warmer. Also, there's a little bit less mosquitoes, so that's good. All right, I got a bit of a morale booster for the first night. And no, it's not a banana. It is a bratwurst. With some onions that I pre-cut at home and doused with some oil. I found some dry grass under some rocks, found some pine cones and some small sticks. I've got some more to keep it going over here. So let's see if I can get this to work, or else I'm going to have to pull out the matches. Got to get it through that little window. Let's get some of those to stick out a little bit. There we go. Let's try that again. The reason I pull it back is because if I push into it, I'm going to hit the stove, knock it over. So an easier way to do it is just to pull the fire steel back. Like that. There we go. Got a little something. Okay. 10 minutes later. Let's get a little fire going in there. I stick this one through the front there. Cool thing about this stove is that you could feed it without taking your pot off of it. Well, let's see what happens. I don't think there's a simmer mode. I'd say those are about done. Wow. I don't know if you can see that in there at all. Bratwurst with grilled onion on a backpacking trip. All right. I was actually going to bring like a roll to put this on, maybe even a little bit of condiments, but just decided not to. But I think this is going to be fine. Wow, that's good. Bratwurst and grilled onion. Beat that mountain house. What? It's campfire creme brulee. So, although bears haven't been a problem in this area, it's a better idea to take precaution and make sure that it continues to not be a problem. So, everything gets bear bagged, and including food and trash, in addition to toiletries, brushing teeth, etc. All that gets bear bagged. I want to get it up in that tree, one of those two trees there. We'll see. All right, and there's Mike hooked up with at Bear Lake. We're heading around to Little Bear Lake. Buddy system, right? Unfortunately, there's no trail, so we're doing a little scrambling. So our hikes led us to Little, or actually Wee Bear Lake. It's a little lake on the way into Little Bear. It's a gorgeous little lake. Bit tiny, but deep-ish. Came across a little snow. Made it. And there are far more good locations to camp up here than there were down there at Big Bear Lake. It's all duffed down here, which means you could get by with you even without a sleeping pad, pretty much just sleeping on the duft. Or not a sleeping bag, but a sleeping pad. But this lake is gorgeous. I'm glad I made the extra effort to come up here. It doesn't seem like too many people do. It's pretty, although there's plenty of sign of people being here before, not even close to the lake previous. Whew. Gorgeous. All right. 1, 2, 3. Woo! Yeah. Feels good. Started the hike this morning without any coffee. Too lazy to make the final dust. Smothered it, yep. And anyone that can't start a fire in these conditions better bring a camp stove. I should have brought a camp stove. Sometimes top-down approach works better. Not in economics, though. As dry as this wood is, I sure make it look wet. So we'll have coffee in a moment. That's pancake. Actually made one a minute ago that was more deep fried. It was like a donut. Pretty awesome. So what is it? It's a Strumstick. Going down. Got him. Trying to go down. Doing this like an amateur. That's my first fly fishing catch ever. Ah! Let's get rid of him now. And let him grow up a little bit. Okay, so I brought some braided fishing line just kind of to keep in the bag. So I, attached a lure, got a lure, and I wrapped it around my water bottle. And I'm figuring this will probably work out pretty well because it has a little bit of a taper. So the line will come off. And this is basically a little spinning reel. Let's give it a shot. There we go. It's gonna sink a little bit. It's working out okay. might have a little too much line on here. At least for my ability level. It's spinning. It's spinning. Oh, there we go. Maybe I don't have too much line on there. If I were to do this again, I think I would do a lighter line. This is about a 70 pound. Could be used for a lot of other things, but for fishing, it's a little heavy. At least fishing up here anyway. Let's get that off there. Fish aren't really jumping as much anymore. Every fisherman needs an excuse, right? That was a good one. Let's see if it brings anything back. Yeah. I pinched the barbs back. So I'm going to try to keep reeling them in, not let them go. Little guy. This one's a brook trout. Little brookie. Might just take him. You could tell he's got a little bit of a white on the leading edge of its bottom fins. And he's got some red spots with blue halos around them. I'm going to keep him, even though he's tiny. He's invasive. Two-burner stove. Red beans and rice, and a little brookie. How big is he? About my spoon size. I'll have to measure that when I get home. See, it's about done. Wish I had a fork and a plate. Alright, since I have no fork or plate, I think I need to get all Gollum on this thing. seasoned by fire. So I want to make a quick little video. My stepdaughter Lily, so sweet. She found out that I was going to go backpacking alone, and she didn't want me to be lonely, because I think, you know, one of the coolest things is seeing a kid's empathy start to develop. But she left me a little note that was so adorable, saying that hope that you have a good time camping, and here, why don't you take my little owl so that you don't feel lonely when you're sleeping all by yourself. So got me a little owl that's joined me on this whole trip. Thanks, Lily. So this is a way, huh?
I don't know. I'm heading off to the right here. Looks like we get into some trail of brush.
Can you fall down?
No.
It would add to the footage, I think.
You want me to? Let me get to a spot where I can roll for a ways. Because I think the brush would stop me. We're clear.
Speak for yourself.
We're clear right now. Good deal.
Holy crap.
I don't think there were any rock cards on this path. Did we put a few here?
Huh?
Did we put a few rock cards right there?
Woo!
Yeah, you know what? If we got down into the brush, you should have stayed up on the rock.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, there's footprints down in here.
All right. Good news. We found a duck. We are back on at least somebody's trail, maybe not the main one, but right there, little stacked rocks, is a duck that is marking the trail or something, a trail. Can't really get lost in this canyon anyway. It literally is a canyon. We got a band of some sort of basalt running right through the granite. I threw a backpack in there to gauge the size, top to bottom. It runs this way on out. And what that is these granite mountains were formed millions of years ago underground. So they're platonic, meaning underground, like the god Pluto, platonic. And volcanic, what it was a magma body, which essentially is lava that never comes to the surface. And it takes so darn long to cool, you get these great crystals in it. I don't know if you could see, but you can see the black and the white, and then some of the sparkly quartz in there as well. So the magma cooled and cracked, and there was still some volcanic activity that shot some more magma through those cracks, which is this basalt material here. I don't know how long it runs. Oh, actually, it runs from here way on out there to, there's a, looks like right there, the band keeps going.
Now the lesson we learned today is follow the ducks.
Amen to that, brother.
Oh, kid. Trailblazers. That's what we are, trailblazers.
Slide rock right there. Wish I brought a foam sleeping pad. I'd be riding that thing. Woo! could actually see some hikers pretty much where we came through. We came through a little bit below, but see some hikers way up there. They're hiking around to Little Bear. Let's see if I could zoom in a little bit without getting too shaky. Where are they? Got one waving. See, they're right up there. Ants marching. It's one of the many ways to get to Little Bear. There's no real established way. But it was, you know what, had I known how difficult it was going to be, especially the way we came back, scrambling so much, slight rock climbing, I would never have gone, especially solo. However, I'm glad I didn't know. Kind of like life. Sometimes, if we knew at the outset what we would come across, we would probably avoid it, but that's where we learn the greatest lessons in life, through our trials.